Hi, folks. Actually, we are going to start a new batch in data science and for data analyst. So, what exactly the course content are and what exactly you are going to gain out of this course, we are going to discuss here. So, thing is that the classes will be of 80 days, like 20 days per month. So here, actually, few topics are there we are going to cover. So what is the USP of this particular course? See, initially I'll talk about the USP of our course is that you'll be doing the completely practical thing. More in 25% will be theory and remaining 75% will be completely practical thing. The thing those that are done exactly in a company. So basically, we'll be giving you little bit of theoretical concept and more of a practical aspect so that you can relate to your day-to-day life, how what exactly it is and how exactly it is working. We have designed the course in that way. So coming to the part, actually, what you are going to learn is that I cannot uh, tell that you can crack a job in 1 day or 100 days or 20 days. But one thing I can assure you that after completing the course and properly focusing into this particular course, you can easily crack the interviews. Basically, we are helping you to crack the interview and perform after cracking the interview, also perform in the company. So after completion of this course, you will behave like a 1 year experienced person. That much I can assure you, if you are properly giving you the time into this particular program. So coming to the first part is actually Python. So in Python, actually, we will be completing Python in 5 days. 5 days in the sense we'll be completing the modules. Those are needed to start a data science course. Or those are, or we'll be discussing those modules which you can learn to apply in your day-to-day life to become a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. So there will be a question, why only 5 days? See, basically theory will be only for 25% of the time, 75% will be practical time. So for every day, there will be certain assignments will be there that you have to complete so that you have to be in a proper position to write a code. So there will be lots of practice modules will be there. So you will be practicing the codes. So 5+ in the sense 5+ we are covering the most basic to the most advanced part. On those part, actually, you will be directly applying in the use case scenario so that your learning process will be little bit faster and also your understanding will increase because you'll be directly correlating those things to a particular scenario. So for the first part, actually, we'll be discussing the installation of Python, what are the syntax we are using, what are variables, and what are the data types in Python. Next one is control flow, like what are if statement, if else if, whatever kind of control flow statements are there, everything you will be learning on the second class. Third class will be the looping part, while loop, for loop, all these things actually it will be covered on the third class. Number fourth, here actually we'll be discussing about the functions, parameters, what are the return values, all those stuff. Then fifth class, how we are importing the modules into the Python, what are built-in modules, how to create custom modules. See, thing is that lots of things you can do in Python, but for that there are certain libraries that you have to do the installation or you have to import the module into your Python notebook. So those things actually we are going to discuss here. Then this is the Python this is the basic part of the Python that is needed to start the data science classes. So next, whatever you have studied here, actually in this data science classes, you will be applying those techniques into the real world scenario. So in the data science part, actually, most of the people used to do the Kaggle project, but here actually we will be not doing the Kaggle project, but we'll be generating our own data. We'll be using our own data to do the data science part. Also, I'll give you some real world scenario. For that, actually, we'll collect some data from different sources, and we'll be doing that. We will not stick to the Kaggle project or the data from the GitHub. We'll be generating our own data. Sorry, we'll be collecting our own data, and we'll be applying those techniques, machine learning techniques, data science techniques into our own collected data. So on the very first day, what exactly we are learning? We'll be learning. First one is like what exactly is data science and what is the workflow of the data science. Then how we are defining the real world problem into data. Means let's say there is a real world problem. How can we define that problem and how can we make it into a data science problem with a solution? So for example, you can say that just a normal example I can give you, like whether an email is a spam or not. That is a real world problem. So that is a problem. So we will be defining that particular problem in terms of data science, and we'll be giving a solution in terms of data science, how to predict the email, whether it is a spam or not spam. So that is basically the technique. Third one is collecting the data. When data, data is the new oil. Everywhere there is data. So I'll tell you the techniques, how to collect the data, how to prepare the data to perform a certain task, what are data exploration, how to model the data, how to evaluate the data, and how to deploy the data. So basically, if you will look all this stuff, it all combines to make the data science workflow. Then very next part, we'll be discussing two libraries, NumPys and Pandas. So what exactly is NumPys and what exactly is Pandas? So basically, NumPy, this is a NumPy library. So NumPy, here actually how to import it, import NumPy as NP. So what exactly or where exactly we can use the NumPy library? We can use the NumPy libraries in specific domains like quantum computing, statistical computing, data science, machine learning, data visualization. All this area actually we can use the NumPy libraries. So it is a very easy to use and very powerful tool in the data science. Actually, it helps you to reduce your workload actually. So the very next question is, what exactly is NumPy? So NumPy, as the name suggests, we can say that like, sorry, excuse me. Yeah. So basically, means NumPy we are using for you can say numerical computing. It provides support to large and multi-dimensional arrays, matrices. So you can say it is a package where we are using the numerical computation for Python. This package is used to, you can say like this package is very powerful tool to do the numerical computing in the NumPy, in the Python without using lots of other tools. So coming to the very next part, we'll be discussing the pandas. Actually, Panda is a library where, so this is basically the Panda. So how to install Panda? So there are lots of steps available to install Panda. We'll be discussing that later on the classes. But for the time being, you know that it is a data analysis library. It is an open source data analysis library where we manipulate the data it is built on top of Python programming language. So here, what exactly is doing, like here, what most of the function that we are nowadays we are doing in Excel, those function we can do using the pandas, like combining two columns or combining two data set and forming a single data set, or data coming from multiple sources. We can combine those data and form a new source. Like that, actually, we are doing in NumPy. Then there are two data visualization tool is there, or library is there, that is a matplotlib. So basically in matplotlib will be learning line plot, scatter plot, bar plot. So matplotlib is one of the very more widely used tool in data science. Just a second. Yeah. So here is a matplotlib. So here actually exactly what we are doing, we are actually creating some visualization using the matplotlib. So here are certain plot types, like this is a plot. So using Python code, actually we are generating this kind of plots. So we'll be discussing those in the classes. Then here one scattered plot is there. It is showing the data scattering of data, how wide variety of data are scattered along a plane. Then this is fill between the plot. Then one more plot is there. Stack plot. Lots of different varieties of plots are there that actually we'll be doing for the visualization. Also, we can make a pie chart out of it. So like lots of plots are there that we are using with matplotlib. The next part will be discussing Seaborn. Here some advanced plotting like histogram, heat maps, pair plots, that exactly we are going to discuss here. So in Seaborn, actually these are a little bit advanced kind of plot. Actually we will be discussing. These are the kind of plots. Scattered plots, then dot plots are there. Multiple linear regression plot is there. So we can find a wide variety of plots here. So here we are plotting three-way ANOVA. So later on we'll be discussing all this part. Just for the understanding purpose, I'm telling you. The next part is descriptive statistics. Here actually we will be using certain statistical techniques that we are going to use in our day-to-day life. So we'll be discussing that later on, but it is a very huge topic. Just I'm giving you some descriptive statistics actually we'll be using here. So just for theory part we'll be using, but its application will be like handling missing values, detecting the outliers, how to treat the outliers. If there are certain values are missing, then how to use those statistical techniques to fill those missing values. All these stuffs we are going to discuss in the descriptive statistics part. And this is the part of that data science module will be covered. Here we'll be using the entirely on Python. The next 14 days will be for the module of machine learning. So what exactly we'll be discussing in machine learning? Machine learning will be discussing what is supervised learning, what is unsupervised learning, then how we are evaluating a model, whether a model is performing well or not. Like if, for example, let's say that we have trained our machine in a certain thing. Let's say that we have trained our machine to predict whether a photograph from the photograph, whether the photograph is of a boy or of a girl. So how effectively our machine is going to predict those things, actually we are going to do in the evaluation technique. Then we'll be discussing linear regression, logistic regression. These are all machine learning techniques. Decision tree, random forest, k-mean clustering, support vector machine, dimensional reduction technique, that is PCA. Then model tuning and optimization, feature engineering. Very important topic. One is feature engineering in machine learning. So basically what exactly we are doing, we will be creating new features in that particular, for example, let's say that you have data of car speed and distance. So you want to calculate the time taken. So distance divide, so we can make a new column using the feature engineering technique, and we'll be making a new column of already distance divided by speed, that is the time taken to reach a certain point. Then next is time series analysis. So let's say that there is a time series data is there, like everyday data will be there, like how many, let's say that for example, how many, let's say you are working in a e-commerce store, sorry, in a departmental store. Every day, how many products are getting sold, or how every day, what is the profit of that particular store. So there will be a continuous data of 2 to 3 years data. So this kind of data are known as time series data. In this, actually, we can analyze on which month the sale is high, on which month the sale is low, what are the products uh, with higher sale value, what are the product with lower sale values. So likewise, we can help the departmental store to suggest them what are the product they should sell on which particular month, so that they can increase their profitability. Then one more thing is the assembling learning method, that is bragging and boosting, that will be doing. The next one is cluster evaluation metrics. So this is a kind of metrics. This is also a statistical techniques that will be doing that. Then lastly, we'll be doing the anomaly detection. So anomaly detection is what? So we'll be basically detecting what are the reason my model is not performing well. So in anomaly detection, like we also check for the outliers. We can use identify the pattern. If there is any changes in the pattern, then that can also be uh, detected. It is basically a statistical analysis technique, the anomaly detection part. The next thing. So whatever prediction we have made, actually we have to deploy it in a particular server, or we have to deploy it and we have to check. See, end of the day, whenever we are doing any model, if we are not deploying the model, then how we'll come to know whether our model is performing well or not? So we'll be deploying after making the data science work done, we'll be deploying those models and we'll be predicting. So for example, let's say that you have the data, you have your car data. Every day you are going to 10 places and you are covering a distance of around 300-400 kilometers on an average. So based on that data, if you are putting the speed, distance and time data, you can easily predict how much range actually you can cover up today or next day or day after that. So for that, actually we'll be making a small like we'll be making a small project out of that. The next one is Django. It is a framework of Python. So this framework also we use for the deployment purpose. So for the model deployment basic, we'll be discussing Git and GitHub. So where you are going to post your codes. See, everywhere, if you look into any training classes, they are exactly discussing, they are only using the CSV file, but here we'll be using the JSON file. Whether then next part is that Postman, that is a tool. So we'll be testing whether our model is performing well or not using the Postman tool. The next one is Docker. We'll be containerizing our model in a Docker and we'll be testing using Postman. So this particular week entirely will be discussing the entire deployment part, because end of the day, if you want to get into a job as a data scientist, you have to know the deployment part as well, because the competition is very high. Just for making model, no one is going to give you the job. So basically you have to learn the end-to-end process of the data science, then only you are going to get into a job. So that's why we have made the course in such a way that once you are completing each and every module properly, your behavior will be like a 1 year experienced person. I can assure you that if you're studying properly, then you can easily crack the interview. Yeah, next part. Now we are going to discuss the advanced topic in the data science process. See, our job is not to master the data science process, but our job is to get a job in the data science environment and perform well in that job for next 2 years. Because within 70 to 80 days, you cannot become a master of data science. But yes, you can crack the job interview and you can perform well in a company. So during your learning, because for first 2 years, your learning process will continue. So you'll be learning each and everything within that company framework also. For that, actually, we are covering all the prerequisites so that it will be helpful for you for the next 2 years in your company. So nowadays, there are lots of large language model is going on, generative AI, like Chat GPT, all those stuff. So all these are made, means most of them are using NLP techniques, natural language processing. So here actually I'll be discussing what exactly is NLP, what are the different text process pre-processing in NLP, like tokenization, stop word removal. What is POS tagging, that is part of speech tagging? What is name entity recognition? And what are sentimental analysis? Sentimental analysis means, let's say that there is a tweet. So from that tweet, whether the tweet is negative, positive, or what exactly, you can easily identify the sentiment of that particular tweet. On the after completion of this NLP for 5 days, we'll be starting with the SQL. SQL is what? SQL is actually a structured query language. Here, all the data are in tabular format. You have to extract those data. So it is a very widely used tool and very, very necessary tool for any data scientist, those who are working. So here actually we'll be discussing what exactly is the database and what is SQL. What are the commands for SQL, like select, from, where, how to filter and sort data in SQL. What are aggregated data, like how to aggregate data, like a group by function. Joining table, how to join two different tables in SQL. What are subqueries, what are nested queries. Then common expression tables, windows function in SQL, indexing techniques in SQL. These are the things that we are going to discuss. Then the very next part. The next part is what? We'll be discussing Tableau. Tableau is a open source tool where we'll be doing the visualization part, data visualization. So basically it is a drag drop tool. Lots of functionalities are there in the Tableau. We have to prepare data visualization. I can show you here some Tableau example. Yeah. So these are few data visualization that are prepared by those people who have prepared this using the Tableau part. Just yeah. So this is a kind of data visualization. This is sales data. Generally, we check the data in this format, but now people are using this kind of data using Tableau. Then one more, patient analysis data. Let's see. So this is the patient analysis data. Number of patient for emergency room, gender, time analysis, average wait time per patient, every day wise, number of referrals versus waiting time by department, total number of patient by race, patient by age. So here basically this is a patient analysis data. So this kind of analysis you can do using the Tableau. So what are the topics that we'll be discussing in Tableau? How we are connecting the Tableau to the different data sources, building basic visualization in Tableau, building advanced visualization in Tableau, what are dashboard, how to create dashboards, also stories in Tableau, and how to publish those dashboards in Tableau. So see, if you look here, the courses are 5 days, but it is completely practical oriented. Basically, you are going to do a entirely practical stuff with it. So here theory is less, more it is more about a practical stuff. After that, after completion of Tableau, we will be doing 7 days of end-to-end project discussion. Yeah. So there will be 7 days of end-to-end project discussion. What exactly you will be doing? We will be using Azure environment. We'll be collecting those data of day one actually. We'll be looking into a cloud that is known as Azure, Microsoft Azure Cloud. We'll be looking into the environment of the Azure Cloud. So basically, this is the Azure Cloud environment. So here lots of services are there. So we'll be looking up all this, not all the services, but those services that are necessary for us for doing our stuff. Next. So the very next day we'll be using the data collection and storage in Azure, using Azure Storage to collect data and introduction to Azure SQL databases for data management. So here there is Azure SQL databases. So basically, whatever SQL you have learned on the on-premise, on your own system. So now we'll be creating some databases here in the Azure. Means whatever you have learned here in the SQL part, we'll be practically doing it in the Azure part. The next, data analysis, like writing SQL queries, extracting information in the SQL database, we will be doing in the Azure environment. The very next part, we'll be preparing the data visualization in the Tableau. We will be connecting those databases to the Azure SQL database. We'll be connecting the Tableau to the Azure SQL database. We'll be creating the dashboard and visualization using the Tableau. And we'll be doing some hands-on practice on the end-to-end project. We'll be using different real-world scenarios to the we'll be using real-world scenarios to prepare the dashboards using Azure and SQL. Then end of the day, you have to present the data to your clients or the key findings to the client. So how you will be properly communicating your work to the client, that we'll be discussing on the last day of the end-to-end project discussion. This is the first project. The second project we'll be doing, that will be a resume parsing project. So in this resume parsing project, actually, yeah. So sorry. In this resume parsing project, what exactly we'll be doing? Will be the NLP that we have learned here will be making an application where it will take the resume, it will check out the keyword and suggest whether this resume is fit for a particular job description or not. So that is the thing. So here we'll be discussing about the GCP platform, Google Cloud. What means basically what is resume parsing and why it is important, what are the use cases, then how to set up a GCP service. So GCP is basically Google Cloud console. So this is the GCP console. Here lots of services are there. We can easily find. Here are all the GCP services for management, API services, compute engine, Kubernetes, storage, there is cloud storage. Then analytics, there is BigQuery. Lots of things are here in the GCP module. Will be checked, not covering everything, but will be covering the necessary modules. The next part will be will be making a API using Flask to build an app, and using Streamlit will be deploying that app. Then we'll be creating that particular model. We'll be discussing all the codes and how we are containerizing the code using Docker and how we are keeping it inside the cloud. All those stuff we'll be discussing in these few days. Then lastly, we'll be discussing how exactly you are going to how you are going to present it to your client. What are the best practices? What are the insights? How you have to effectively communicate. End of the day, whenever you are preparing a particular project, basically you are preparing it for a client. So you have to give the presentation, you have to explain the client. So basically we'll be doing all those stuff in this 7 days. So here, these are the two very important projects that you will be discussing, so that you can put it, either you can put it in your resume, because end of the day, it is all about getting the project. Then very next thing, what exactly we'll be discussing how to prepare the resume, how to optimize the LinkedIn profile, how to optimize your job application, and we'll be exploring different job portals. Lastly, there will be a final project. Let's say that if you, after completing this two project, if you want to, if there is any other project that you want to do, you have a use case, then you can tell us. We'll be helping you to make you understand that project. We can have a discussion for that particular project. We cannot help you out with the project, but we can help you out in discussing about that particular project. And lastly, what are the tools exactly we are going to discuss in that particular program? So tools will be, first of all, Python. Python will be using for data analysis, scripting, and web development. Then NumPy, data manipulation and data, NumPy and Panda for data analysis and data manipulation. Matplotlib and Seaborn will be using for data visualization. Flask and Django are framework that will be doing for model deployment process. Docker will be putting our codes into a Docker container and will be running it. Postman will be doing for API testing. GCP will be doing for model deployment. Azure will be doing for model deployment. SQL for querying and data management. Tableau for data visualization. Streamlit will be using for preparing machine learning web app. Job portals will be discussing multiple job portals. Git is a vision control system where you will be pushing your code, and GitHub is the place where you will be find the code. Also, we'll be discussing how to make a portfolio project of yours. Like this is my portfolio project. Sorry, my portfolio website. So like this, I'll help you to make a website where you, in the GitHub environment, you will be deploying this particular website in the GitHub environment, and you can showcase to your interviewer or the client whatever you are going to use. So here we can put the link for Twitter, LinkedIn. You can put the LinkedIn link. You can put the GitHub link. So it will be here. We'll put a resume link where also you can download the resume. So basically, it is a portfolio website, or you can say it is a CV website. So it will be completely free of cost. You can deploy it. So I'll help you out how to do it. So that's it about the program. So any other doubt you are having related to the program, then let me know so that I can clarify all the doubts.